I can go through here. Okay, we're old guys talking about skis, but skis are kind of hard to ski on if you just put your feet on them. Kind of gonna need bindings.
Bindings.
So today it's old guys talking about ski bindings.
And I'm a particular fan of bindings because I think that they've had a huge impact on the ski sport. This is how skiing started. It's a leather toe loop. There's just a leather toe loop that holds you to the ski. Put your foot in here and it holds you to the ski. Kind of. You can still fall out of it. But this, for thousands of years, this was the standard binding. One of the issues was control. You didn't have a lot of control. So they were working on ways to give the skier more control over the ski. And that led to the bear trap binding, which is this one. And it's got metal toe irons and a metal cable that would come around the heel, so it would hold the boot in the bear trap bindings. And they call that because there's no release. They held your foot in like a bear trap. Clever name. But the problem was, well, the good part was it gave the skier more control. You had metal on the boot, so you had a lot of control over the ski. It allowed skiers to really start to perform. It allowed skiers to push the boundaries of the sport. But the problem was that in the 30s, there was an injury rate of about 10%. So the bear trap, as good as it was, the injury rate became a problem. So they've been working for years to come up with a solution. There were some designs that go way back. This is from 1938. This is acknowledged as being the first release binding. I put that in writing one time, and a good friend of mine, John Allen, emailed me and said, well, actually, Nordlander had a patent in the 1908 for a release binding. So I looked it up, and it's true. But this is known as being the first release binding. Hjalmar Vom was one of the top skiers. He was a 4-event competitor, slalom, downhill, and jumping and cross country. And in 1937, he won a big race, and then he won it again in 1938. Excuse me, 36 and 37. He won a big race, and afterwards, 1937, he went out skiing with his buddies, and he fell and broke his leg. He woke up from the ether in the hospital. He says, nurse, get me a pen and paper. And he sketched out this design. And we'll take a closer look at it at another time. But this piece here would jam into the metal clip on the boot, and it would actually release. So this is the first release binding. And it was really in the 50s that other designs started coming in. And we got a nice collection of designs that didn't quite make it, that worked sort of, but were not commercially successful. So it was really in the 1950s into the 60s, really, before you got dependable release bindings. And that's where Bob comes in.
Okay, and primarily the mid-60s, these were really big. Marker. There was a time when you were either a marker guy or a look guy.
I was a look guy.
Yeah, and later on Salmon guys, but not as many. But this is a marker, great looking binding. The nice thing about it was nice and light.
Yeah.
It was pretty easy to set up. You just take this cable and you move it around.
Yeah.
It was a piece of cake to mount. And step in.
Says the shop guy. We're both shop guys.
Yeah. Just step in, and of course, the toe piece was beautiful, light, but not a whole lot of elasticity in this toe piece. And it also had notches, so you had to notch the boots, which was kind of problematic because if you were a bad notcher or the boot got older, the notches got sloppy and the toe piece got sloppy.
Yeah.
But that was a pretty popular selling binding. It also had one criticism from a lot of people, and they called it the Explodomat, because on occasion this back piece would release, and the binding would explode, and there'd be springs on the hill, which was kind of fun finding them. We don't have a lot of powder, so it wasn't hard to find them. Another binding that is most of our favorites. Is
mine.
the Look Nevada, later on changed their name to Look. And the word Look Nevada, Nevada's not a French name at all. The guy liked the name Nevada from the United States. So he just added it to the end of Look, and then they just changed it back to Look. But we call them Look Nevadas. Beautiful cast aluminum, a lot of elasticity in the toe. Jean-Claude Keely and a lot of big racers are promoting this binding. The heel piece, if I do this, if I break my wrist, pretty strong spring in it. Its problem was if you fell, sometimes this thing would be off to the side. And again, if you were in powder, that was problematic. If you're not, you just kind of straighten it out and step back in. Eventually, they added a little piece here that would hold it in place. Yeah. But of all the bindings that we have here, and all the bindings I can think of, this is probably the only one that you could probably just still ski safely.
Yeah.
And it's also the only one that the design still exists. It's called the Look Pivot now.
Yeah. But the same design, it's the same basic design though, right?
Yep, almost identical. A few differences. It's not as pretty.
A cast aluminum does look nice.
Yeah, I had a young skier. He saw this and he goes, "Can you buy the pivots in that bright silver color?" I go, "No, it's an old binding. They don't make them like this anymore." But it is pretty. You can polish them up really nice. But that's kind of the apex, the top of the binding world right there.
Yeah.
And then one more thing that was, I don't know why this happened, but there's a fad for a while where you'd have like a marker heel, in this case a Salomon toe. Not a good combo because they're two different companies. They don't really work well together. But for some odd reason, people thought it was cool. It's like I gotta,
Well, the Simplex toe, the marker toe, requires a lot of forward pressure
Yep.
to function properly. And this heel really pushes the boot forward. So it creates that forward pressure that the marker toe wants.
And this doesn't. This doesn't
The
require.
Salomon doesn't want the forward pressure.
So this is a probably pretty dangerous setup, but people did it. So there was not a lot of what they call them indemnifications now, where you have a lot of controls and standards. They didn't have those back then.
Right.
So anyway, that's kind of the long and short of it
Yeah.
for bindings.
Thank you. Hope you enjoyed it.
Thanks.
We'll talk again.